Alright guys, today we're talking about The Last of Us Part 2 once again, and this is a video I feel that I absolutely have to make for a few reasons. The first being that I think Sony and Naughty Dog, I don't know who exactly is responsible for doing this more recently. I don't think it really matters. They're both, very closely associated, obviously. So, they're apparently taking down videos, and I've seen some of my subscribers warning me of this, and luckily I haven't had anything happen, and hopefully nothing will happen. But I've been made more aware of this situation, and I've been looking into it, and it's not good. I think it may have stopped. I think maybe Sony and Naughty Dog kind of realized that they're doing something pretty terrible, and it's just only going to serve to make the entire situation much worse. And as a content creator myself, I definitely have to take a moment to point this out. So I want to talk about that, and I also want to talk about an update that comes from Jason Schreier that doesn't seem to be going over too well with most people, and this update is in regards to how this content actually leaked out and who is responsible for it. So yeah, I know I've been trying to stay away from this to a certain extent because I don't want it to be the only thing I talk about on the channel, and it's not going to be. Obviously, I think May is going to be filled with a lot of actually really exciting stuff, but I know that there's a lot of people very, very interested in this ongoing situation, and they want to not only stay up to date with it, but I know a lot of you also want to hear my thoughts on this, and I touched upon it briefly in my, I'd say briefly, but it was like over 30 minutes yesterday in my podcast that I spent talking about this, but it definitely deserves a video of its own here. And so, I came across this article, and it says Sony is abusing copyright systems to take down content of people just talking about The Last of Us 2 leaks. So this is highly concerning. Now this was posted on April 30th, I believe. So again, I think that this has since stopped, but yeah, it's just not good. It says Sony is pulling out all the stops in trying to prevent the spread of leaks of its upcoming Last of Us Part 2 game from appearing on the internet. This extends beyond targeting actual video content from the game posted with copyright strikes and the shutting down of channels. What's interesting about these incidents on Twitter accounts and users being blocked is that DMCA claims are now apparently valid in case a leak from The Last of Us Part 2 is so much as mentioned, or a mention linked to it in a tweet, never mind posting any actual leaked content. The owner of the Geeks and Gamers brand announced on Twitter that one of his videos about the game was taken down for copyright reasons, asking followers to help him by giving visibility to the story. And this is the one that I was pretty interested in because this is it's happening to smaller content creators, which is extremely unfortunate, but it's also happening to some bigger content creators like this individual from Geeks and Gamers. Now, I'm not too familiar with this person, but, looking at everything here that has happened, he says on his Twitter, "I'm not doing anything until I talk to my lawyer about this in the morning. I showed no images. I gave no specifics about The Last of Us Part 2, yet my stream was taken down and I was issued a copyright strike on a clean channel. Tag people that you think can highlight the story." And I've seen more and more people talking about it, and for good reason. This is stuff that people should be free to talk about. I mean, it's Sony and Naughty Dog do not have a right to try to silence people just because they don't want them talking about the leaks or potentially giving their opinion on them, which may not be a very good opinion. Now, again, I'm not too familiar with this individual, so I don't know exactly what they've had to say. I think they share pretty much the same opinion, most of them anyway, that I have to a certain extent, as well as many of you guys here on the channel. And it goes on to say here, let me see. I think they quoted him. He says, "I discussed," meaning I used my words and my opinions to talk about what is happening with The Last of Us 2. with Naughty Dog and how they are abusing the copyright system, and then my video gets a copyright strike because of opinions, because I shared no footage, no images, and I did not even talk about the specifics of the leaks. See, that's what's concerning about this whole situation, is he's claiming that he did not share anything explicitly. He was literally just talking about them, and I understand that Sony and Naughty Dog obviously don't want this to happen, but this is only going to serve to make the situation worse. In fact, I would argue that it has already made the situation significantly worse, because again, I haven't seen any updates like in terms of other people coming out here saying that they've received copyright strikes or DMCA claims or takedowns or anything like that, which is good, but I'm pretty sure that's because Sony now realizes that we can't do that, and if we continue to do that, it's just going to make the fire that much bigger. And like, you guys know by this point how I feel about the leaks themselves, and I do feel that people should have the right, obviously, to be able to talk about these things without the fear that you're going to get a copyright strike. And for those who are not aware, copyright strike for YouTube content creators is the worst thing that can possibly happen. I think if you get 3 of them in a certain period of time, they can literally terminate your entire channel and ban you, basically. So that's why when these copyright strikes are given out, content creators take them very, very, very seriously. And a lot of times, not every time, but you'll see a lot of times you'll see certain companies try to issue these takedowns, and they're not really within their right to do so, and they're, people end up looking at that as a false copyright claim or a false copyright strike. And in this case, that seems to be what is happening. Now, I did hear about some other individuals. I don't have it right in front of me, but I think someone also got a copyright strike for just showing one leaked image specifically. And that's where, the territory gets a little bit, if you're putting up leaked images, if you're putting up leaked footage, I know that it's easy to kind of say, well, it's already out there and everybody sees it, but still, if you do that, they kind of are, to a certain extent, within their right to basically try to say, hey, you can't show that, like, you need to take that down. Still, though, like, this is just a situation that's gotten so big and it's gotten so out of control that I genuinely feel that anything Sony and Naughty Dog attempt to do going forward to control this situation will only serve to make it worse. That it's like one of those finger traps where, like, the harder you try to remove your fingers from it, the tighter it's going to get, and the harder it's going to be to get to get out of it. The idea is do nothing, and that will solve the problem. And I feel that, unfortunately for Sony and Naughty Dog, this is one of those situations. And talking about Jason Schreier's update here, I feel like this is just kind of a highlight of that, where yesterday Jason Schreier tweeted this out. He said, okay, after talking to 2 people with direct knowledge of how The Last of Us 2 leaked, as well as some Naughty Dog employees, I have a good idea of what happened. Short version, hackers found a security vulnerability in a patch for an older Naughty Dog game and used it to get access to Naughty Dog's servers. I think the footage that leaked is from devs playing an early build. I haven't watched it. Most importantly, rumors of this being an act of protest by a contractor whose pay was robbed are not true. Naughty Dog actually extended pay and healthcare benefits for contractors due to everything that's going on right now. Now, what's interesting about this is, Jason Schreier, I think, he's considered pretty credible, but the thing about Jason Schreier is a lot of people are aware that he has his own agenda, which is, that's just the way it is. He has his own opinions on things, and in the past he has made them pretty clear to a lot of people, and a lot of people are pretty much looking at this and just shaking their head saying, like, you expect us to believe this? Like, you expect us to believe that this entire situation, that footage that's out there that clearly looks like it's ripped directly from a dev kit, it's literally dated, there's coding and all this stuff, there's dev tools built in, whatever. You expect us to believe that this was just due to a security vulnerability in a patch for an older Naughty Dog game, and this somehow allowed hackers to gain access to all of this without the help of any developers, without the help of anybody internally. It sounds pretty unbelievable. It really does. And this is where, again, Sony issued their own statement and they said that the individuals are not affiliated with Naughty Dog or Sony. And, the way they worded that, it doesn't necessarily mean that they were not at one point affiliated. It doesn't mean that they didn't have any connection whatsoever. And it was just a very vague statement. And then Sony went on to say that they cannot say anything else because it's an ongoing investigation. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to jump to any solid conclusion here because I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend like I know. I feel like that's a really weird way of going about it. I don't know what the actual situation is. I don't know the facts. I don't know the truth. In fact, I don't really know that many people actually do. What I will say is that the situation is strange enough and bizarre enough and just bad enough that people don't really care. And I don't mean to sound so egregious when I say that, but that's the sentiment I see kind of across the internet, where people don't care how this game leaked out. And it seems like what Sony and even now Jason Schreier are attempting to do is turn this situation into something that it's not, where they're trying to make it seem on a surface level that the reason why everybody is so upset is because the way that this leak happened, which it was rumored that it was a disgruntled developer, and they're trying to basically calm the waters here and say that no, it wasn't a disgruntled employee, our workplace is fine. And I understand that if they're trying to defend that aspect, it's understandable that they would do that, but it just really comes off as damage control. And it doesn't really take away from the big, like a huge reason why people are upset. Like, a lot of people are saying they don't care how it leaked. They care about how bad the story is. They care about how bad the leaks are. How bad this game is. That's what they care about. There are some people who no doubt have expressed a lot of frustration and disdain for Sony and Naughty Dog, knowing, or when we, originally thought that this is actually how it happened, where it was a disgruntled employee. And the thing is, we still don't know. Like, this doesn't confirm anything. You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't, like, you want to talk about the idea of hackers. Like, it's very, 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 very difficult to believe that something on this scale, that a leak on this scale is occurring with, just because of something on the outside and only on the outside. It's literally unbelievable. And that's why people are looking at this, and they're looking at Jason Schreier's tweet, they're looking at Sony's statement, and they're still raising their eyebrows like, really? And to be honest, it's completely understandable. But again, I don't want to sit here and tell anybody like I know, like I have contacts and I've talked to people and I know exactly what happened, because I don't. It very well could be that it literally was just hackers, but to me, it seems really, really, really unlikely that it was just hackers alone and nobody associated at some point in time with Naughty Dog or Sony. That just seems a little bit ridiculous to me. I don't want to say it's completely out of the realm of possibility, because we don't know for sure. Hopefully we will know eventually. But yeah, I just had to take some time here to give, what I hope is, for now, I'm sure it won't be, but for now, a final update on The Last of Us Part 2, where it just seems like it's only getting worse. And as I said, it really just seems like anything that Sony or people affiliated with Sony, not that Jason Schreier is affiliated with Sony, he's obviously not, but anybody who tries to, go out of their way to explain the situation and make things seem like they're not as bad as they really are. What I can tell you is that the damage that has been done so far is so severe, it's so significant, that at this point in time, I genuinely believe it would be in Sony's best interest and Naughty Dog's best interest to just do nothing. Say nothing, do nothing, let the game come out, and if you want to start talking then, start talking then. And certainly do not go around copyright striking people's content if they're not doing anything wrong, if they're just giving their opinions, if they're just talking about it. I'm sure what they're saying probably isn't what you want to hear, but that does not give you the right to just take down people's content. That's not how this works. And hopefully, hopefully that's done now. Hopefully Sony got the message loud and clear, and they know, don't do that. It's not right, and you are not, you are not helping yourself at all. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it, or at the very least found it informative. Tomorrow we're going to get back to talking a little bit more about the PlayStation 5 and some interesting things that are going on with that. Again, later in the week we are going to be live streaming, hopefully, this Inside Xbox event where they're going to be showing some new next-gen games, third-party games, which will be pretty exciting. So at this point, leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Leave the video a like if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload. And feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.